This is looking so great. Oh my God.
Have you enjoyed your path? Where's path number 8? Because I enjoyed myself with you so much.
Path number 8. Path number 8. Where is path number 38? Yeah, they're my guys.
Well, who is ready for this main camp?
So tonight we are going to celebrate the fact that we are all together with our contingents and reunited. And I'm sure that every one of you has made new friends for a lifetime, I guess, during these pods. And now you can introduce them to your own contingents and even make a bigger group of friends. So maybe you already saw some people you know from The Hague, from the beach, where we had this wonderful party. Oh my God, did you? Oh, I dreamt about it. It was so cool.
It was fabulous.
It was so cool.
It was fabulous. The Hague was fabulous. The pods were fabulous. And now we're on main camp! Woo! Okay, everyone, for one more time, wave your flags. Wave your
Let me
flags.
see those flags.
Show where you come from.
Yes, Australia. Oh, and this is Spain and Lebanon.
I see
UK.
Portugal.
Wow.
Okay, thank you. But before we can start the show, please lower your flags. Cyprus is in the house.
So we want everybody to enjoy these shows. So we have to lower our flag a little bit, and then at the end we will do another flag celebration.
Yes, for sure. So please lower your flag so everyone can see the show. Thank you.
Lower your cow as well, yes. Yeah. This also means cows. Lower your cows.
Perfect, thanks.
Yes, Lebanon, you're all there! We saw you!
Okay, one more time. Raise all your flags.
And make some noise! So did everyone get that out of their system? And then we can start, okay? Yes, lowering flags means lowering cows and lowering ducks. Okay, take it away, because we are waiting for some people arriving on a bike, I guess.
Yes, maybe some of you already ride on a cycle, like a bike trip, this pod adventure. But Ilko and Martijn, they brought the opposite attract ball to Zeewolde, as you can see on the screens. So I think they have already arrived here at main camp. So let's see if Ilko and Martijn, our project directors of Roverway 2018,
Please
are
welcome
here.
on our stage. There they are.
Oh, there they
On
are,
a bike.
on a cycle.
They're coming.
Wow. Let's hear it for them, our project directors.
What about this limousine with 2 wheels? Wow.
Oh, please come here on
Go on
stage.
stage and give them a big applause to two of the project leaders of Roverway, Ilko and Martijn.
So, welcome everybody. Welcome at main camp. We are really pleased to see you all here after The Hague. It was really nice to see all those smiling faces coming from all the buses of the path. We brought this sign all the way from The Hague to main camp.
On a bike, be frank. On a bike,
On the bike.
yes.
Yeah, I was just sitting at the back.
I'm so proud of you.
He did all the work.
Huh? What did you say? I don't know.
But you brought a lot of new friends and a lot of memories from Path to main camp, and we really like to share them all with you. But meanwhile you were on Path, there were a lot of people who put a lot of effort in building up main camp. So I would like to have a really big applause for Planning Team Production 2018 and all the ICC and Hubs.
We are all member of one of our two of the associations of Bosom and Wax. They brought us all together here, and the next days will be about bonding and celebrating together that you survived your path. We have suffered here in the heat, and you have suffered the heat on the path. But we suffered together, and we will make Roverway together. We did not make Roverway. You are making Roverway. So, tomorrow we will start with the program. Tomorrow morning you will eat your breakfast together. So there we start with sharing, and then we have 3 days of sharing, an excellent program ready for you.
3 days, that's not enough to share all these stories that they had. They did so much on the pods.
I know lots of you will be traveling afterwards in the country. Feel welcome, and we'll see you this evening or tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you, Ilko and Martijn. Right.
Let's give it up one more time for our project directors, Ilko and Martijn. But there's another person we would like to give you all a warm welcome here in Zeewolde. He loves to walk around here in the Scouts and Guide Center here in Zeewolde. It's the Major of Zeewolde. So he came here on his bike, and let's hear it for the Major of Zeewolde, Gerrit Jan Gorter. Let's hear some noise.
Dear Scouts and Guides, welcome in the youngest municipality of the Netherlands. And with you all, we are very young as of today. Let me take you back 100 years, 1918. In the UK, Baden-Powell started a new section called Rovers. In the same year, here in the Netherlands, Minister Lely got his Zuiderzee law. This year we celebrate these events. Both have now come together here in Zeewolde. 100 years ago, these two men had a vision. They were pioneers. One, to give youth an opportunity for personal development, to exchange ideas, to learn about cultures. The other, to make our country safer from floodings and gaining new lands for agriculture, housing, forest and recreation. Next to 100 years, there's another similarity. The logo of Scouting Worldwide is the same as the name of the minister, a lily. And of course you will find it everywhere in our province, for example in our coat of arms or on our chain of office. So welcome here at the seabed of the former Zuiderzee. You are now a few meters below sea level. But don't worry, we are totally in control. As the name of our village in Dutch already expresses, Zeewolde is part sea, zee, and part woods, wold. 50 years ago, this soil was drained. Late 70s, the farmers came, and 34 years ago, the first houses were built in Zeewolde. Here, at the geographic center point of the Netherlands. 85% of our inhabitants come from several parts of the Netherlands. 15% come out of 90 countries all over the world. A new town made by pioneers with one goal: to give their families a life in a municipality where everything is possible. In the promotion video, we called Zeewolde a sea of endless possibilities. Zeewolde offers you Horstewold to be explored, but when hiking, be careful not to be dependable on internet to find your way in the woods, as you might find yourself on the spot where you cannot connect to the internet and you have to depend on your scouting skills to find your way out. In the woods, here nearby, you will find deer, horses, cows, foxes and all kinds of birds. And in autumn you can find numerous varieties of mushrooms in the Oosterwold. Even species that are rare can be found here. Of course, many of these are toxic, so you can't all eat them. Instead of going to the woods, and some have already seen it, you can go to the water by it. It offers you possibilities for sailing, surfing, stand-up paddling, swimming, or just lying at beaches. Large beaches and beaches almost private. And last but not least, Zeewolde has also a lot of opportunities for people who, as I, like to walk long distances, or ride a bike, or ride on a horse. In this municipality you find various long walk and bicycle routes, a special sea bottom trail for horse riding. So tourists, and there are a lot of them here, and inhabitants like the many possibilities for outdoor activities in Zeewolde. Dear Scouts and Guides, this is your first visit to the Scout Estate in Zeewolde. The coming days, some of you are the lucky ones. They can go to our town. They can go to our beaches. They can participate in the Scout Talks at the Town Hall and other places. You can learn more about Dutch political structure or Zeewolde as the most sustainable municipality of the Netherlands, or the water board of our region, and a lot of other things. I hope to see you, and the other ones who can't come to Zeewolde, please come back here to the Scouting Estate. And therefore, before I end my short speech, I want to give a badge of Zeewolde. You will get them all, but I will give 2 badges, one to a guy, another one to a girl.
Yeah, maybe.
They are already here.
Yeah.
And one is from Austria. And the other one is my personal assistant from Portugal. So you will get a badge with Zeewolde, and you will see the coat of arms and Zeewolde. And it's the invitation to come back to the Scouting Estate in Zeewolde as a scout or as a tourist to the municipality of Zeewolde. I hope to see you all again, and on behalf of the inhabitants of Zeewolde, I wish you a pleasant stay here at the estate, our town, our region and our country. Thank you very much.
Wow! So Maya, you let this name for us, for all of us? Wow. Okay, thank you. These are wonderful words. I cannot wait to explore the area here. And we feel welcome. I feel welcome. Do you feel welcome? So, one one more time. This is the mayor of the scouting and guiding capital of Holland, Zeewolde. Let's give it up one more time for Mr. Gerrit Martijn. Wow. So we already asked you, did you have a good time? But I think that you have already said that enough. But Emil, there is some footage that we can look at, isn't it?
Well, can you believe it's actually only been almost a week that we were together in The Hague. Can you believe that?
A week? Wow.
We just passed almost 1 week. And a week ago we were all at the beach together. And it seems like ages ago. But maybe we just have to see what happened last week. So we can all remember it again. So please look at the screens and we get a flashback of last week.
Woo.
That was all of you, I guess.
Yeah, but that was just a quick. There are way more stories to share the coming days, and I know that you will have more stories than we just saw. But it was like, it looked so cool. Okay, as we are all reunited gathered here today, we would like to do something together, a little game. So we will now try to split the field. So Emil, what do you think? I'm just like, this is one line.
Yes.
So please help us make one line. Just this is one line. So go to this way or go to that way. One
Please
line.
stand up. Stand up, everyone.
Can everybody
Yes.
stand up? Yeah. So this is one line.
I think I've got the best side here.
No, I've got the best side here. Come on.
Come on, you're my best side. Okay.
So
But
now we have two sides, Emil, but we need four actually.
we need 4.
So we want to make a line in the middle, and we need all your help. So we get 4 fields. We want to get 4 fields. So the tent is another line. So make it, guys. Make a line. So we have like 4
Split it.
fields.
Split yourself.
A
Not yourself, but
horizontal
your group.
line via the tent. Yes. So do we already have like the line? Maybe the planning team can help a little to make the line in the
Yeah,
middle.
perfect. There's a line coming, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Make sure
Good
you're
job,
in the
guys.
square. Make sure you're in the square.
So now we have 4 squares.
I guess so. Well, as you can see on the screens, we would love to see the symbol on the screen in your square, your field. Yes? So the first one is a tulip, and you have to be as first with your square to make this tulip with the whole square. Who does that the first wins 5 points.
So, do we all understand how it works? So, with your square, you will make a live tulip, I guess, yes? A human body tulip. So, if your square is the first one, you will get 5 points. Everybody clear? Is everybody ready? Ooh, I'm so excited to see what
Are
they
we
can
ready
do.
for the countdown? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Make a tulip!
Make a tulip! Look, these guys, they are coordinating here. Good
Oh,
job,
they're going really
yes.
quick over here.
Oh, they're already done, yeah, almost. Make the tulip! Oh. Yes, yes. Coordinate.
If you look up, you'll see a drone, and the drone will check if you made the right tulip.
There's the drone, so we can see it on the screen. So please.
Wendy, do you already have a winner at your side?
Now, this one is really going quickly. I don't know
I
why.
have one here in the front as well.
So what do you think?
I think we have a winner here. I think we have a winner here. You get 5 points!
I want revenge! Do we want revenge? Yes! So what are we going to do next?
Okay, be ready
Okay,
because
okay,
we're
okay.
going to. Okay, but you didn't win the whole game yet, so make sure you get more points with your square. And the other squares, be ready.
We're gonna
because
fix this,
now
guys.
We're going to see a windmill, but this windmill is not just a windmill.
Oh no,
It
it's
spins.
moving.
It spins,
It's
yes.
moving. Can we see the picture? So figure out how to do the moving. So
Wendy,
we are gonna do another
countdown.
countdown. Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
go!
windmill!
Make those windmills! Oh, this is looking good here. So can the windmill turn?
I think we almost have a turning windmill here.
Turn, quick, turn! Make the windmill turn! We have the winner now.
We have a winner at your side.
We did.
Which square? Which square?
That square that you can hear over here.
So sorry. Too bad to the
So we have
fullback.
5 points here, we have 5 points there. Do we want to get a revenge over there?
Okay, everyone ready? Because the third picture is going to be a boat who's sailing, and that's moving as well. So, take a good look.
Are we ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
You know, this is real. I can help it, but this
Yeah,
is
I have
real.
one here as well.
They're just waving at you. This is a moving boat. This is a sail.
So we have a winner.
I think we have a winner.
Well, congratulations to this side of the field.
Okay, you did a really good job. Thank you all for
Well,
participating.
maybe this side are the losers, but let them win this. We can do other things better.
It's not about losing or winning, but it's about having a good time. So, as you already have seen on the video clip, there is like a special dance to the Roverway song. So, we have a group of dancers from all over the world gathered here to teach you how to do this rover dance. So, where are my dancers then? Let's bring out these dancers. Oh, we have the rover band now. Oh, yes. And now are the dancers. So please, pay some attention because we want all of you to dance like stars the next week. But please, let's give it up one more time for the one and only, almost world famous Roverman!
Rover dancers. Let's hear it one more time for this band. Woo! What a great job they did.
Okay, guys, you can all get their autographs. Just wait outside there and they will sign your shirt and everything like you want to. So, during these parts, you will focus on the statements I can recognize myself and I am open to others. And the parts give the perfect conditions to work in a smaller group with enough space to also focus on yourself. But now we are all together, reunited here with all 4,500 rovers. And it's time to take a look at the bigger picture, and focus on the following statements. I'm involved in the world around me and I can make a difference. There they are. Whoa. Wow.
This main camp brings together 4,500 Rover Scouts with 53 nationalities. We're with 53 nationalities.
This is time. 53 nationalities. I want to see those flags again. Yeah.
Wow,
Where
show
are
some
the
flags.
53 nationalities.
wave
Where
them.
are you? Hey, there they are.
Okay, thank you for waving your flag again. It's so nice we are with so many people gathered here this evening. Well, you listen to, talk to, and learn from them, and you discover opposites when you are with so many nations together. When opposites understand, respect, and learn of each other, they can make a difference together. Well, we can make this difference together. We can make a difference with all of you on this main camp in Roverway 2018.
So to kick off the coming days, we would like to invite a very special guest on stage. No, not you, Mr. Flamingo Dancer. You look lovely, actually. Thank you.
First off, Wendy,
what?
we couldn't do this main camp without all the ISD and CMT members that all did a very, very good job to build this main camp for you. So let's hear it for them. Because without them, there was no main camp. So let's hear it for the ISD and CMT members. And this can't be louder.
Yes, I can hear you all the way up here. No, we're not doing the president's game. So, please, to kick off the upcoming days, we would like to invite a very special guest on stage. He knows all about building big things by hand. He cannot wait to tell you more about his philosophies of society, technology, and helping people to realize how involved they are in the world around them. Please, welcome to the stage, stand-up philosopher, scout, and famous international life hacker, Martijn Aslander!
Thank you, hello, wow. I love your energy. This is really amazing. Thank you for having me here. I'm 45 years old. I'm a scout. I've been a scout since I was 6 years old. Whoa, this is a better place. I never had a job in my entire life. And I never studied anything. And I walked that path because I'm a scout. And I think the world needs more of a scouting mentality. So I travel the world, I write books, and what I do is I look through the lens of technology to social, societal and economic developments. But most of all, I'm teaching people that now is the best time ever to be a scout. And I will tell you why. When I was 15, I started my first company because I was at the Scouts. And what we were doing there on Saturdays, a hike through the forest, I thought I can make money with that. So I thought, okay, I can organize outdoor activities as a scout. And I got help from the other scouts, my friends. And then suddenly 100 people showed up, paid me 10 euros. And then I found out at age 15, I could actually make 1,000 euros in 2 hours, legally, with the stuff that we were already doing as a scout. So within 2 years, I figured out that everything that we were doing was scalable. So when I was 17, I was running an outdoor company from the back of the classroom. But it was before the internet and before the mobile phone. So I started my company with no internet and no mobile phones. And I learned a lot about that. And then I started to grow my company. I was hiring all the scouts. And then when I was 27, I got broke. I lost everything that I've built up from my 15th. And that's a very interesting situation to be in. Can you imagine that you lose everything you have? For a lot of people, it's something they fear. But actually, when you're in that situation, if you lose everything you have, there's actually not a lot that can go wrong anymore, because you're already there. And then I did something daring. I had some extra time, and I grew up in the northern part of the Netherlands. And there we have these 5,000-year-old, very old megalith structures, like Stonehenge. In Dutch we call them hunebedden. And they're actually much older than Stonehenge. They're pretty ugly, by the way. And I grew up in that area. And I lost everything. I had no idea what to do. And I thought, well, let's build a hunebed, a big dolmen. But I'm a scout. So let's build the biggest dolmen ever on Earth in only 16 days with scouts. Within 2 years, I raised €1 million. And then 14,000 people showed up, and I solved an ancient mystery. Building a big dolmen, 260,000 kilograms of giant stones, by hand, moving them, is actually pretty simple. It's a lot of work to prepare, it's a lot of fun. I think it's boring if you do it more than one time, because, well, then it's not exciting anymore. And then I was done. And I had no idea what to do with my life. And I thought, what would happen if I was to explore this path of scouting furthermore? What if I just live the Scout's way and start to explore the world and try to make it a better place? And then I designed a very radical business model that is so radical that most of the experts in the world actually think it's not a business model. I started to work without money. I said, okay, I'm just going to help, which is the right thing to do, and then just see what comes out from that. Who of you is very insecure? Cool. Who is so insecure that you prefer not to share that with other people? This is what happens all the time when I ask any audience this question. So I figured out all of us are scared and insecure, and we all have our way to deal with that. Who of you is afraid to be on stage like this, to address and talk to a lot of people? Okay, this is perfectly normal. The last 10,000 years, most of the people who tried to be alone, without weapons, against a giant group of maybe with a different opinion, they're not there anymore, and they didn't reproduce. So we are trained not to go on stage. But I had no idea at the moment that I received this very strange phone call. I've built my hunebed, I had no idea what to do with life, and then I got a phone call. Martijn, can you address a speech to 700 people? I thought, I have not done this ever before, so I think I can do it. And I went there on stage, and there were 700 people in front of me, and then I fainted. I woke up outside of the hall because I was so afraid, I was so scared, I was so nervous. I woke up in a different place, which is weird. Not like teletransportation, but like, this is weird. And then what could have happened is that I could have asked myself, this is not a good thing for me to do. And I thought, how big are the odds that I will faint again on stage? And then something interesting happened. People kept asking me to deliver talks on scouting, building dolmens, and the Scouts way. And I learned a lot about how to use technology in a smart way and the scouting approach to set things in motion in society. And nowadays, without having studied anything, I travel the world, I talk with governments, big companies, but why I really think that we are on the verge of a new era. And in this era, I think Scouts with their mentality and their social behavior can fix a lot of things that seem unfixable on the planet. But before I can explain that, I have to dive into a few concepts that you maybe not know yet. So last 15 years, the world learned how to network. I mean, actually, this is a giant network event. You get to know people from different countries, different backgrounds, and then you can learn and you can understand. But network effects are rarely being studied on this planet. And once you understand network effects and technology, you can leverage your scarce free time on this planet to amplify all of your efforts to make this world a better place. So raise your hands. Who of you is using WhatsApp? Of course, we think it's free and we get the bill in a few years, and it's fast and it just works. WhatsApp is actually more impactful for the world and for the stuff that you guys try to achieve than you might imagine. But to clarify that, I have to give you a little history lesson on what technology has done for the past 20, 30 years. Who of you here in the audience think that technology is evolving so fast that you can't keep up anymore? That you think, well, there's a lot of things that are going on. I have no idea where the world is going from the perspective of technology. This is perfectly normal. I mean, there are about 5 billion people who have the same thing. Technology is evolving very fast. And I'm manically positive about it. But to understand why we are on the verge of a new era, we have to look back on why technology is happening so fast. Because our world will look nowhere when you look at how things in our society are designed right now. I will explain to you why within 30 years electricity will be free, food will be solved worldwide, but you have to look through the lens of technology to understand that. And again, technology plus the Scouts mentality will save the world. So the network effects. The first guy, oh, I have no idea because you're pretty young. Do you know what a fax machine is or used to be? Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So the first guy who ever bought a fax machine couldn't do anything with it. He had to wait until there was another customer that also bought a fax machine so they could send over faxes to each other. But this is actually, if you think about it, pretty weird. You buy something, but you have to wait for somebody else to buy the same thing, and suddenly the value increases. But when the third guy bought a fax machine, he added value to the first two fax machines. And the 1,000th guy who bought a fax machine added value to all the first 999 fax machines. This is called the network effect. Every node that you add to a network increases the impact of the network, making it more powerful. But there's something funny going on with those network effects, and I think you will benefit from that better than most of the other people on the planet. When you go back in the 50s, the adoption rate of black and white TV took like this long. So it took like 20, 30 years before everybody had a black and white TV. But at the end of the 70s, people suddenly wanted to see color TV. And the economics were going up on most of the parts of the planet. So the transition from no TV to black and white TV took much longer than the transition from black and white TV to color TV. Who of you at home use an old-fashioned big TV, not a flat screen but the old model. Only a few people, so the transition from the old-fashioned big bulky televisions to flat screens went much faster. But the underlying pattern of those network effects is actually pretty interesting. The cycle becomes smaller and the volume goes up. Is there anybody here in the audience of the older people who used the GSM network, the predecessor of the GSM cell phone network in 1998? Okay, before we had, yeah, I see the mayor there. Hello mayor, thank you for having us here. Always, it's a nice suit. So, we had before GSM, before the smartphone we had GSM, but before GSM we had something that they said was mobile, but it was not mobile, it's like a mobile cell phone. It was more like a field radio from the Vietnam War with a big battery pack, and they said it was mobile. So it took like this long for people wanted to have a mobile phone, because in the beginning of the 90s people were not into mobile phones. And then suddenly 10 years ago, January 2007, I was there in the audience in San Francisco when Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone. So it took 10 years, a lot of years to get used to a smartphone, to a mobile phone. But when this smartphone came up, the first iPhone, the transition went much faster. And every year when they release a new iPhone, there were 200 million people buying a new phone. The pattern here is the same. The volume goes up and the cycle becomes shorter. One more thing to explain my point. Text messaging is only 25 years old. And in the beginning of text messaging, it was a lot of work because you had to push every button on the old-fashioned Nokia phones to get a letter. And then they invited, I guess it's Finland. Okay, good to have you here, guys. So text messaging was terrible 25 years ago, so it took this long. But nowadays everybody is texting. And then something interesting happened, and this is the real point that I'm trying to make. On the day that Facebook announced the takeover of WhatsApp, 50 million people on the planet moved from WhatsApp, said goodbye to Facebook, over to Telegram, another app. This is something that we haven't seen before on a mankind level. 50 million people not loyal to any platform, just moving in, bam, a split of a second over to another platform. So the underlying pattern is the same, network effects. And then in the summer of 2016, something spectacular happened. Suddenly, 750 million people on the planet, almost a billion people, started to adopt fun new technology. Anybody, any idea what happened in the summer of 2016 in the field of tech that 750 million people suddenly started to use? Anyone? Pokemon Go, yes. Who's still playing it? Very well. Okay, listen. 750 million people starting to use Pokemon Go is something that's the beginning of something much bigger. Because within a year we will see 2 billion people starting to adapt to something new in a week's time. Not long after that, 4 billion people will start to adapt to something new in only a day. And a few years after that, we will see and feel that 6 billion people on the planet will start to adopt something new in only 1 hour. We have no idea what this will mean on a mankind level. For people who are laughing about Pokemon Go, still every day 150 million people on the planet are playing Pokemon Go. It's the most successful anti-obesitas program on the planet. Every day 150 million young people are walking outside 2,000 to 8,000 extra steps a day. It doesn't matter how much money you would spend as the European Union of the United Nations on obesitas solving, but Pokemon Go did it as a side effect. But the real story behind Pokemon Go is much bigger. It's the breakthrough of augmented reality. And augmented reality is, by all the experts that I take seriously, will have more effect on the planet than the impact in the last 10 years of the smartphone. So this is funny. I'm stating here that the technology behind Pokemon Go will have more impact on your planet that you're trying to make a better place than the smartphone was capable of in 10 years' time. That really means something. A lot of people know that their smartphones are full of sensors. But one of the sensors most of the people don't know of is the gyroscope, who knows what the position is from your phone towards the earth. So it actually knows that you're moving your phone like this. And if you connect the camera to it and a chipset and graphics and a popular game from the 90s called Pokemon and GPS and an open source database, suddenly you can make a very engaging game. This is not important. But what is important is that 750 million young people started to play with it. Is there anybody here on the verge of redecorating his or her house? Yeah? Okay. And do you have back problems, by the way? Because that's very, that's a nasty situation to be in. You have to redecorate your house and you have back problems. So Apple, you know, the company with 1 billion users, the market of Apple app development is bigger than the turnover of McDonald's, and I think that's a good thing. So friction-free, young people like yours can make something and they can sell it or give it away to 1 billion people frictionless. This was not possible 5 or 10 years ago. So IKEA makes something interesting with Apple. They developed this AR program and you can do the following thing. If you want to redecorate your house but you don't want to move any furniture, you just grab the app and you point it to your room and then you see this very ugly table that you want to replace. It's from your ex-girlfriend, she didn't want to have it, that's why it's still there. And instead of moving it, you just push your finger on it, on the screen, and boom, it's gone, magically. It's still there, but in the screen, it's gone. And then you say, hey Siri, with voice recognition, I need a new table. And then the magic happens. The chipset and the camera know how big the table is. And then they go through the IKEA guide and they place the table that fit in your room. And you can swipe through it, maybe you know it of Tinder. No, 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 yes. And then you pay with your signature. And then you think, okay, this is better. I have to move the sofa. Poof, sofa gone, new sofa in. This is already there. I told this story to people who are electricians, people who make a living of fixing electricity. Who of you know exactly what to do when you're in your house and the lights fall down and the electricity will be gone? Who knows exactly how to repair that? Only a few. So imagine, you're 15 years old. I think there are only 15 fuse boxes and systems in the world that are dominant. You only have to figure out 15 interfaces and you put it in an app. If you're 15 years old and you're a patient, you can fix that. So what will happen when the lights go off? You just flip on your little camera, you walk to the room where the electricity is fit, and then the app will recognize which buttons you have to push. How cool is that? But this is the small story that I want to tell you. The big picture is that there's not one technology happening right under your nose that you can play with. And I really have a lot of faith in the young people playing with solutions like this. Actually, there are 30 technologies right under your nose that you can play with. Neurotechnology, nanotechnology, sensor technology, robotics, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, AR, VR, open source, open data, big data, open hardware, social swarms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, 3D printing, 4D printing, DNA sequencing. All those things are happening at the same time. And they will be in the hands of 5 billion people within 5 years. Especially people who don't have anything to lose. So within 5 years, most of the people on the planet can use those technologies to figure out how to do something. I want to tell you 2 stories of young people who did something amazing, and maybe you can learn from that. The first one is a friend called Omar Kabiri. Who of you have heard of Sir Richard Branson from the company Virgin? Yeah, it's a cool guy, it's a hippie, I think he's in his 60s. And this guru, this business guy, was in Amsterdam addressing a speech for 1,000 young students. And they could send a message to a big screen and ask him questions. And something interesting happened. Omar, Branson said that he would go to the inauguration of Barack Obama, so he had to fly to Washington afterwards. And my friend Omar, as a student, just sent a text message to the big screen. Hey, Richard, can we join you to Washington in your own plane? And then Richard said, oh, that's a cool question. Yes, of course, don't worry. Take your passport with you. So the guys, Omar and his friend Leonard, went on the bike in Amsterdam, going to their houses, get the passport, get back, get into the plane, and the plane was in the air and went down again because the wife of Richard wanted to go, she lives in London, to Obama as well. And now something interesting happened. Omar and Leonard were in a plane with Sir Richard Branson. And they couldn't go with him to Obama, of course, but when they went back home, Omar was asked to deliver a talk on this adventure to a group of business guys. And then he made €1,000 by telling what happened after he asked a question. And then he got asked again. After 3 years, this guy was actually a very good public speaker, knew all the other public speakers and had a cell phone of the Prime Minister of the Netherlands and could do whatever he wanted because he built a network and he was very skilled in delivering a talk. This is what's happening when you ask a question on the right moment, dare to ask. When it comes to technology, there's another guy, I think you should look him up on TED.com. It's the story of Jack Andraka, who was only 13 years old. He was gay, in the wrong state of the United States, and somebody in the family died of pancreatic cancer. If you get pancreatic cancer, you're in deep trouble because you're gonna die. The survival rate of pancreatic cancer is only 2%. And Jack Andraka was 13 years old, he didn't have a lot of friends, and he was a nerd. He was very upset. So he went to his room with a laptop and he used two tools that you can use by yourself, Wikipedia and Google. And within 2 years, this young guy started to study the diagnostic systems of pancreatic cancer and figured out a way that was 196 times faster, 400 times more accurate, and 26,000 times cheaper than the entire industry had developed in 50 years' time. So this is what happens when you have young guys or girls with tools that are accessible for everyone trying to fix a problem. Those are not weapons of mass destruction. Those are weapons of mass disruption. And they're not alone. They go to gatherings like you do. But if people from 13 years old can pull something off like this, and after his invention, the survival rate of pancreatic cancer goes up by 98 to 98%, which is an increase of 96% achieved by a youngster who is younger than most of you guys here. So, I think we live in exciting times. And we have no idea, most of the young people have no idea, that you don't longer need money or a career or a scientific degree to pull off stunts like this. I think scouts are excellent puzzlers. What if every problem on the world is actually just a puzzle? How do you solve puzzles? By making the puzzle visible, shareable, inviting other puzzlers, and by getting pieces of the puzzle together. This is what's happening on the web worldwide right now. This universal mind that he spoke about in the 60s is actually being built right now under your nose, and you can join that and benefit from that. Because scouts are more flexible than most of the people that I encounter. They're far more curious than most of the people that I encounter. They are more daring than most of the people that I encounter because scouts test their assumptions. And they are kind-hearted because if you're kind to others, it's the right way to behave. It builds you social capital. And if you look social capital up on the web, you're going to figure out that social capital is way more powerful than monetary capital that will be gone if you spend it. So what you guys are doing here right now is building social capital, figuring out what it actually means if you help out each other, if you learn from each other, and if you bring that and push it out in the world. But I dare you, even if you don't like technology, to figure out how can you use technology to leverage the most valuable thing you have besides your health and the dear friends you have. It's your time. Use it wisely. I'm gonna give the mic back to you and maybe we can do 1 or 2 questions. Thank you so much for being quiet and listening, by the way. Okay, before I go, we have time for a few questions. So if you want to learn something more, or you want to have something in addition before we're going to party, that's fine. Is there anybody, because we have too much, I see somebody here.
Will you see him?
Is
Okay.
there anyone with questions?
Yeah, I see a guy there waving. I saw someone here. Don't be shy.
Anyone?
No. Then I suggest we're gonna party because it's what, of course, you want to do. That's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martijn.
Let's hear it one more time for Martijn. Martijn Aslander.
So I guess I can use my phone now all day.
I guess you can. Yes, yes. Well, before we're going to some more music, we want to give you some kind of idea what you can expect these days on Maycamp.
Oh, what are we going to do these days?
So, let's watch a video in a flash forward.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that. Who is looking forward for Maycamp? And even more, who is looking forward for one more time, the Rover Band? So with so many people here in Zeewolde now and at the Roverway, it's always someone's birthday, isn't it? So at the Roverway, 160 people are celebrating their birthday. Oh my, wow. So I think that we have to shout out to those people. So if we all sit down, but except for the people that are having their birthdays. Okay.
So please sit down. If it's not your birthday on the main camp or...
The main camp or the pod.
Yeah.
So if you had your birthday, or having your birthday, you stand up. Oh, here we have some Finland. Oh, France got a lot.
So many people have their birthday on Roverway.
So Portugal. I cannot see my little 38 birthday boy. Where is he? Oh, 38 birthday boy. Yeah, because you're standing up. Oh, there they are.
Are all those people in the back? Is it your birthday this Roverway? Well, if it's not your birthday, please sit down. And we put the spotlight on the people who are actually celebrating their birthday, isn't it, Wendy?
Yeah. So we have 160 people, and we are gonna sing for them because they deserve it. Are you ready? Rover Band, let's give it up for them and let's sing for those birthday people.
Rover Band! Rover Band!
Rover Band!
Rover Band!
So, we got Niels on drums. He's from Netherlands. Marcus is on piano and he's from Germany. Pierre-Louis on saxophone and guitar. He's from France. Augustin is also from France and he's on trumpet and violin. Okay, we got Malou on bass. She's also from France. Kevin from the band is on guitar and he's from Ireland. Katrina is one of our vocal singers. She's from Czech Republic. Alex is from Lebanon. She's our second vocal singer. And we have Merlin, who's also from Lebanon. shout Roverway, and we're gonna have to see which side is louder. So we're gonna start with the right side. Are you ready? I can't hear you. Okay. 1, 2. Not good enough. Again. 1, 2. Now for the people from the left, I want to hear you do the exact same thing. So, 1, 2, 3. They are louder. I think we should try it again. 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
job being that, well, perfect audience. And I got a slight feeling that my perfect Czech contingent learned, taught many people how to say good job in our language. So if you can please shout it out. Dobrá práce, so thank you for being such a good audience. Dobrá práce, everyone. Thank you.
devotion. You told me everything I know. Wave goodbye, wish me well. Let me go. For now we dance. My side is vital. My hands are cold. And I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we dancing? Are we dancing? It's not to be alright when you feel alone tonight. There is no message where we see the let me know if my eyes still beating. Are we dancing? My side is vital. My hands are cold. And I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human? Let me know. Or are we dancing? My side is vital. My hands are cold. And I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human? Are we dancing? Are we human? Are we dancing?
Hello everyone from path number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 67, 68 and 69. We are path number 1, aka the Rover Band. We already had some stories of you having a really great time, having some fun on the path. And we, to keep it short, also had some fun. It was like eat, sleep, music and repeat, and we enjoyed everything of them. Especially for eating, our Lebanese girls, Alex and Marilyn, made us an astonishing dinner, including something called fatouche. And fatouche isn't only a really tasteful salad. We also like the word so much that every big hit when we play music, we're gonna call that one fatouche, and we're gonna show you what a really good fatouche sounds like. Only
we stay here tonight, for now, we want to make sure you know this. Because maybe you might feel a little bit hungry now. Well, the food houses are open now. From now on, they're open. Yes? Okay.
So let's celebrate that with one last time, just for tonight, because we have more days to enjoy them, of course. But one more, I think we need some dancers as well. Let's bring out the dancers!
Dancers!
So, do we want to hear them one more time with the Rover song?
Rover Band! Rover Band! Rover Band!